Welcome to BW Business World. Today I have with me Charanpreet Singh, Director and Co-founder of Praxis Business School Foundation. Thank you, Mr. Singh, for joining me today. I would like to start by asking you, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be a director and co-founder of this foundation?
Like most Indians, I did my BTech in engineering, and then I did an MBA abroad. Then I came back. I worked in the corporate world. But I always had this thing for academics, so I used to teach on the side. And then in 2005, I decided to kind of pursue my passion, and then got together with a couple of people who were ready to work together, and we set up Praxis Business School in 2007 in Kolkata. So and then we kind of worked towards taking it forward and adding more components, and so that's about it.
Yeah, thank you and congratulations on setting all of that up. Right now digitization is the buzzword. It's not a new word. It's been around for longer than we can think of, but it's definitely come into the spotlight quite a lot, especially over the last 2 years in the pandemic. But can you tell me, as someone who's running a business school, what does it mean to bring the students into the digital age for you?
Yeah, so interesting you ask me that, because this is where we are actually focused. We work at the confluence of management and technology, right? So digital means connected, right? So it's another word for cloud, internet, everything. So everything, it's this huge connected humanity, which is what digital is. And to me, at an operational level, it's basically two things. This is technology and data, right? So when you are preparing young resources for the industry or for research or for any of those things, progressively data and technology are going to play a huge role. So this is where we have to, kind of empower our students and enable them to be able to navigate this digital world and to be able to, lead it. So if when you look at an MBA program, we teach all the functions of management, right? We teach finance, marketing, HR, systems, operations, and so there are two ways of looking at it. One is that I do a specialization in analytics or data science, and get my tech and data going. The other is to not look at it as two different things. I'd say that today marketing is incomplete without data and technology. So there's something called marketing analytics. So if I teach marketing today, I have to embed data and analytics there. Similarly, finance today is full of risk analytics. And different types of risk analytics, and even for cross-selling, upselling, we use analytics through and through, even in finance. Similarly, HR, managing retention, predicting retention, managing the workforce, we use a lot of, it's called HR analytics. So we do it at two levels. One is that everything that we teach at Praxis, right from the first year, has analytics in it, embedded in it. And on top of that, we give specialization options in data science, business analytics, digital business management, so that these people are ready day one to be able to make sense of the digital world and to be able to work and contribute day one. I mean, that's the whole idea.
So can I just ask you, how is your course or your pedagogy standing out among all the other courses that we're seeing right now?
So there are about, I think, 4,000 business schools, so I don't know what each one of them does. Yeah, but I think we are very clear that there are other things about the digital world which are very important. One is that the technologies and the way we do things are changing dramatically fast. So that's why we call it the digital revolution. The magnitude of change, speed of change, both are very fast. So whatever we teach today, the content part, 2 or 3 years later, it's going to be replaced by something else. So our pedagogy, in addition to teaching content, also focuses on making our students better thinkers, because you need to learn how to think better. And number two, better learners, because you have to learn continually, because as you join the workforce, every year or two things are going to change, disruptions are going to happen, a new Paytm is going to come in to disrupt the financial industry, or a new Swiggy or Netflix is going to come and disrupt the entertainment industry. So are you a quick learner? Have we taught you how to learn? So in terms of how we design our courses, how we deliver our courses, how we assess students, all of that plays a role in creating that ecosystem where people become better learners, better thinkers, and have a reasonable idea of what this digital world is all about.
I need to ask this because you're at the center of all this. What are some misconceptions people have about, this digitization that's happening, or the digital the industry 4.0?
Okay, so we are such a strong ecosystem in this that I don't know, because there I think people are reasonably clear, but I'll try and figure out. I think one is people underestimate it at two ends. One is at the impact it has on our lives. I mean, people have taken to Ola, Uber, they have taken to Swiggy, they have taken to Netflix without realizing how different our world was before. Okay, so I think they underestimate the impact that digital is going to have on our lives, especially with AI coming in such a big way. And the second thing, I think they totally underestimate what it means to prepare yourself for it from a skills perspective. So I think there is a misconception that if education remains the way it is and I learn what I'm learning, I'll be able to kind of navigate this world. But I think that it's not just about, as I said, content. It's also about attitude. It's also about flexibility, agility, and I can tell you that the next 5 years are going to be very exciting, but also very challenging. And Corona has accelerated this whole process.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of work that goes behind creating these kinds of apps, and we're very quick to go like, oh, your app isn't loading.
Yeah, so there would be a few people creating the algorithm, then a fewer people creating the apps, and a multitude of people using those apps, right? So yeah, and at every level, it's not just about creating something new, it's also about interpreting what it means, and then you need to be trained in that, and then helping the world to use it. Yeah.
And that's a lot to prepare somebody for. But can I ask you, when recruiters are coming into your schools and they're also, how well are they also kind of up to date with all the changes that are happening?
Okay, so the industry doesn't have an option. If your company is not responding to these changes and not keeping pace, you're out of business. So that always happens, right? The industry is most of it, and if you're lagging, you will eventually get there. So the recruiters who come, we get a lot of very, very smart companies to come as recruiters, the Big Four, and lots of other companies, financial sector, consulting, and all of that. So they are people who are actually either doing that or helping people do that, or getting the fruits of what is happening, and they have to continually update themselves, use new technologies, new business models to keep themselves in the game. So they are very well aware. What they sometimes are a little disappointed with is that the academic institutions are not able to keep pace with that, and so sometimes it requires they pick up people who they think are smart, and then they have to do a lot of training in-house, and so we want to cut that process down.
Absolutely, and you probably have a lot of collaborations.
We have a lot of, so again, if you want to keep pace with the digital world, you can't do it in isolation as an academic institution. So for our programs, we have partners who help us in designing courses, who help us in delivery as well, give us projects. So I think that academia industry partnership, I think, is a pillar of a good institution.
One more thing, because again, we have these notions about what digitalization means. Do you ever find the students' expectations to be a little bit different from what you are offering them? How does that play into the?
Yeah, I think good question. Students today sometimes know, they are always connected. So previously a professor could get away with, saying whatever he or she did in class, but here you are almost real time. They know, and obviously we don't know as much as Google does. So I think they become more demanding, which is great because it keeps us on our toes. And the second thing is their expectation. When I graduated, we entered a company saying that we're going to stay there our whole life, we're going to build a career, and things were very stable. Today it's a very dynamic world. So the students are also, they're a little, what's a good word, restless. the FOMO, fear of missing out. Am I missing out on the latest technology? Am I missing out on the latest startup? Am I missing up on becoming a unicorn myself? So I think, and that also needs to be channelized, so that if you go everywhere, you reach nowhere. So I think that there is more anxiety. I can tell you that. On the flip side, there's also great opportunities for data science, business analytics. People get recruited on day zero. All of them, those who have these skills. So if you have the right skills, there are great jobs, great opportunities. But yes, sometimes expectations are unrealistic. Sometimes there is anxiety, there is confusion, simply because things are changing so fast, they're so dynamic.
Absolutely. My final question to you is, because you are at the center of education here, and there's a lot of change happening in front of you, but you've also been in this industry for a long time. What is it about your own education that you think probably gave you the most strength?
Okay, so I was privileged to go to a school which had great teachers in science, which is why I took up science. I think a lot of your life depends on your teachers, what subjects you pick. And from there, I went to a great institution called IIT Kanpur, and I studied there for 4 years. I did my mechanical engineering. So you can ask me that I'm not using any of that engineering. But I think what you learn in an institute like that is, again, to compete with the best minds, to learn from them, and also to think, because you can't get through institutions like that unless you sharpen your analytical skills. And so I call them transferable skills: ability to learn, ability to think, ability to compete, ability to fight in an adverse situation. These are transferable skills. So you can take these skills to any job, to any function, to any research, to your personal life, everywhere. So I think the training that you obtain, and then I did my MBA. I went abroad to the US, so that gave me a cross-cultural exposure. We had people from about 120 countries in our batch, business management batch. So then you start accommodating others. You become more inclusive. You understand and embrace diversity. You realize there's a lot to learn from different cultures. So I think that so for me, both these experiences, all three, my school, my college, undergrad, and my postgrad, I think have made a lot of difference to who I am and what I do.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us, and very good luck with your venture, and I hope to hear more about you in these coming days.
Yeah, thank you for talking.
Thank you.